What's going on there, folks? Good Friday morning. Good Friday afternoon to some out there. It's the Earthmaster here on this June 17th, 2022 date. It is about 10:10 a.m. California time here. Latest quake shows looks like a 1.0 earthquake into the area of Southern California. Seen quite a bit of uptick in activity ramping up here around the Caribbean plate overnight. And off into the Middle America Trench, seeing some deep activity as well. Let's go ahead and check out the latest map here from the USGS, showing some of this activity, including a most recent quake here into the Indonesia region with a 5.1 coming into the area. So over here around the, of course, around the Cayman Islands, we've seen some activity ramping up yesterday in the 4 and 5 range. Right here along this fracture zone, there is a subduction zone that sits around this area down south, and of course over here around the Puerto Rico Trench and areas to the east here. This area has seen some uptick in movement overnight as well, near the Anguilla area. They've seen a 4.8 kick up. It's kind of right off the Puerto Rico Trench area, and this area has definitely been long thought to be able to produce a significant size earthquake and a tsunami. It's been well over 200 years. I was just reading this article about the Puerto Rico Trench region. I try to cover it on occasion, but it's a pretty extensive area, dynamically set up as well. Yeah, it kind of looks like last 200 years or so. I haven't really seen too much adjustment on this area. The actual subduction zone, the Puerto Rico Trench, has not ruptured in over 200 years, which is a major concern. As they believe it may be due for a major event. So this area definitely, it's a beautiful area, but man, it's very deadly as well. So this whole region kind of seen a little uptick in activity overnight. Also seen a 3.7 further down here near St. John, seen a 4.4. Overall, dynamically, this whole area has been under quite a bit of stress from the Cayman Islands eastward. And of course now, it looks like we're having activity around the Middle America Trench, kicking off here this morning with quite a few earthquakes in this area. 4.7 in the Costa Rica area, one of the later earthquakes kicking off this morning time frame. Up around the Guatemala area as well, seeing a 4.0. That one was overnight. So just kind of watching this whole area. There's a couple different separate little small microplates within this region. But as a whole, the Caribbean plate, man, it's being squeezed. Let's see what else we got. Texas showing some activity overnight. A couple 2s and some 3s. Looks like a 3.5, the largest. This one was coming in yesterday. This is an older earthquake. Looks like we only seen one earthquake here near the Pecos, Texas area, 3.1. That one coming in overnight. Nothing going on around the New Madrid zone as far as 2.5 and above goes. Looks like activity in the west coast is continuing to ramp up. Even seeing some further activity offshore into the Blanco fracture zone. We did see a 3.9 kick up there in that region overnight as well. That one coming in just a few hours ago, right there along this fracture area where we've seen quite a bit of swarming kicking off here. Well, yesterday kind of calmed down, but the day before it was really ramping up there with some 4s and 5s. But today just at 3.9, and then last night seen at 3.2 as well. Northern California 2.5 and above, some movement outside of Red Bluff. A little activity over here along the San Andreas Fault with a 2.5. And this earthquake down here outside of Bakersfield from yesterday. Let's go ahead and bring up the all magnitudes here and see what else we got here for the states. A little bit of more quake activity here on the map. Looks like around the New Madrid zone as well. Seen 1.8. This one was a late night earthquake last night. 1.8 there along the New Madrid zone. And down in Georgia, 2.2. This one's kind of an odd quake. 6.8 kilometers. Haven't seen a whole lot of movement here within this region. Last 30 days of activity. Let me bring this up here. Shows that is the only one. So it doesn't look like too much activity has popped up here in recent times. Looks like maybe one person reported feeling this 2.2, surprisingly. So it has been reviewed. It stands as an earthquake. Let's see what else we got. So for California, a little bit of microquake activity ramping up here south of the border, right off the Imperial Fault Zone near Mexicali, and one earthquake here within the last hour in the Baja California range. No major swarms around the Salton Sea. Getting a good cluster of movement up here along the segment of the San Jacinto Fault Zone. Wouldn't want to see that along the San Andreas Fault. That would not be a good sign. Ridgecrest area, seeing a little bit of filling in of the earthquakes here today up here around the looks like the Rose Valley, Little Lake area. Just a bunch of microquakes kicking up there today, and also outside of the Long Valley supervolcano. Tonopah, Nevada area, these guys, looks like we've seen a couple more smaller quakes in the region, but no major movement to report today. Got one earthquake here along the creeping, is this a creeping section? No, this is a park field, pretty close to the creeping section of the San Andreas Fault at 1.0 near the Parkfield area there in California. There's another earthquake out here along the Petrolia region. This one coming in, looks like earlier this morning as well. Somewhat shallow, about 12 kilometers for a 2.2 just offshore, but still kind of goes hand in hand with what we've been looking at over the last week here, with a lot of pressure out here along the west coast and the Cascadia subduction zone. Can't say it's over yet, but just something to keep an eye on for sure. Yellowstone National Park, a couple earthquakes showing up here on the map. Let's see if I can bring up the Yellowstone view here real quick. And doesn't look like, aside from last night's activity, had a little small microquake movement. Doesn't look like we've seen too much this morning. There's still a couple small microquakes in the area around this area of Yellowstone National Park, down here around the Pitchstone Plateau. Those are super small, and in honesty, I'm not seeing a whole lot of further activity ramping up here. Eastern section of the park, looks like there could be something going on there, but some of it looks like earthquake activity, some of it looks like some wind event maybe over there. I'm not for sure what the wind speeds are in this area of the park, but some of it looks like it's showing up along the eastern section of the park there. All right, what else we got here, folks? Let's back out of here. Pacific Northwest looking pretty quiet. Alaska's seen a little bit of spotty movement throughout the region, and still haven't seen a whole lot of westward push here of the around the Pacific northwestern portion of the Pacific Plate. That includes areas around Japan and into the Mariana Islands. Yesterday, we had a couple spotty movement earthquakes here, but nothing significant. So, little activity in China. That one there, I believe, was from yesterday's time frame, and some further activity around the eastern part of Afghanistan and Iran area. But overall, no major seismic activity to report here in this region. So I still think we've got to watch the west coast pretty closely with the lack of activity in that region over there. One earthquake way up in the Lovelock, Nevada area, 1.0 at 10 kilometers, just coming in within the last hour. Solar weather activity has been crackling with a bunch of sea flares. Let me see if I can bring this up here from the Solar Ham site. There's I could use their side, or this is the Space Weather Prediction Center. GOES X-ray flux, 1 minute data. Look at all that sea flare activity popping up like popcorn. Looking pretty active here, folks. Normally, that's pretty a good telltale sign of looking at a good solar flare coming. We'll see if it continues to gain strength and maybe give us an upper M flare. Of course, we had an M flare, low-grade M flare, a couple days ago. A kick up from one of the sunspot regions. But right now, just a bunch of sea flares popping off, and mostly from these sunspots here that are facing Earth. 3032 is pretty good for possibly producing some other larger flares. Also regional 3031, 3037 look pretty amped up as well. Some of these other sunspots are not super dynamic. They're there, obviously, but they're not in terms of their magnetic fields don't look super great for any type of flaring. Probability details, looks like these guys 31 and 32 appear to be the most active possibility regions there in terms of producing some flaring. Let's see here, 30, 31, 32. 32 is up here. A lot of mixing in right there, and also 31 down here. There's quite a bit of unstable conditions across both of those sunspots for sure. So we'll watch that in the coming days. Coming hours, I should say, because it's crackling pretty good. C flare 85% chance, M flare around 30. Looks like 10% chance for an X flare. We'll see how that holds out. KP index has been somewhat elevated overnight into the 2 to 3 range from some from some coronal holes that were facing us in the days past. Nothing in the coronal hole department currently. Looks like maybe a little one. I think that was the one that was facing us, but is now kind of turning away from us. Nice little signature there of a beautiful feature on the sun. Look at that. I've always been fascinated with the sun. I wouldn't want to be this close to the sun though, but it's absolutely stunning. Always love space weather. All right, guys, let's see what else is going on. We got some much cooler temperatures today. In fact, Missy Mimi's has her sweater on, and 65 degrees out. Oh goodness. Me, I'm in shorts and just a tank top. I kind of love the cooler weather. I'm not a big fan of heat. 10 epicenters of tremor last night. Not a big deal. Mount St. Helens activity. It was kind of ramping up last night. We'll go ahead and do a quick overview of it, see what's going on. But could have some chance of thunderstorms out here tonight too here in California, so I'm kind of excited for the day. Cooler weather and a chance of some storms. That is my type of weather. Yeah. Looks like there is definitely low activity this morning. Seeing that activity strike pretty nicely on the seismograph. And as far as I know, I don't think USGS was showing anything there from this morning's time frame. So getting close to the weekend, right? It is a weekend officially. If you really think about it, Friday, that's pretty much the weekend. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. We'll see you guys a little bit later tonight with the update video. Like I said, still keep a close eye around the Caribbean plate. Seeing a lot of movement here around the Puerto Rico Trench area, and also this trench here, the Middle America Trench. So when we start seeing some activity, a bunch of activity around the subduction zones, it's something to watch pretty closely. Both of those regions are capable of producing some sizable quakes. So we'll keep you guys updated, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Friday. We'll see you guys a little bit later tonight. Before I lose my voice, take care, guys. Peace out.